guessing, you probably know what we're going to be talking about on Conversations today. We're discussing weddings and celebrations. I'm going to be talking to somebody who's pretty qualified in this area. Let's go and meet them. I'm super excited to introduce my guest. She's Catherine Masitsa. She is the CEO and founder of Samantha Bridal. Hi, Catherine. How are you doing?
Hi. You're doing
I said it
good.
before, and I'll say it again. You look really good.
Thank you. It's a beautiful morning.
It is a really beautiful morning.
Sunny, Yes.
So we're going to be discussing the wedding industry today. And we're going to be talking about the things that Samantha Bridal has experienced and the things that you've had to do to deal with this new situation. So in line with that, before we get into it though, I do have to ask you, how has it been for you and your family working from home and being at home all together?
Well, it's been, let me say it's been great. Let me just say usually the times when I'm staying at home, usually when I'm on holiday, maybe I'm in Europe and I'm staying at home because I'm on holiday.
Yeah.
Has been no time, like for 60 days, For us, when the government said social distancing, it was 13th of March.
Yeah.
Yes, up to now. I haven't left the house.
Wow, that's very, very, very
yes. Yeah. So in terms of staying in the house, I have taken up new hobbies. I'm gardening. I've grown my own vegetables.
Wow.
I'm doing lots of things. So it's been really, really great because I must say I haven't really had time to just sit at home like the way I am right now together with the family. So obviously you sometimes you think you know each other, you get to know each other better. You're a better mommy now, and people discover your nice cooking skills.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, so it's been good. And then of course I'm homeschooling.
Yes. What has that been like?
Yeah, she's already back in school, so we are already like mid-term, let me say. So we are doing Zoom. Just before she was already on Zoom learning.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what we are doing.
That's good. I mean, we just have to move into the new normal. We don't really have a choice at this time. Like you said, it's been several weeks, several months in some countries as well. So we don't have an alternative. We just have to move with the times. So the first question I have to ask you is, are there any weddings happening at this time?
Yes, there are weddings happening. Just the numbers in terms of the number of attendees. According to the government directive, there are weddings happening. The same way there are funerals happening. Weddings are actually happening. Just people are just getting married, like maximum you can have at least 15 people.
Yeah.
And so they are happening. But what I know is that at the Attorney General's office, they're not registering new marriages. Only the marriages that had booked earlier. So they're not taking new bookings at the moment, unless the directive changes. Maybe next week we will see. Okay. So you cannot book a new date, but there are weddings happening. And you mentioned that Somali wedding. What we witnessed is that when the government announced that we're going, in terms of social distancing, cancellation of a lot of the events, especially weddings, funerals, or any other social gatherings, initially people didn't take it seriously. They didn't think, the government was serious. And therefore, some people were actually arrested. And of course, there were those ones, but all manner of things. But now I think people have realized this is very, very serious. People are actually dying. And that people thought as Africans we are immune to this thing. It's just a Mzungu thing happening. But now they realize, no, actually it's happening here. We've seen people dying. And so people are taking it seriously. I must say, I know in my industry, the people I work with, we take it very seriously.
Very good to hear. Yes, especially for you, you have to protect your staff members and any of the suppliers you work with as well. So it's not just even about the wedding and the bride and the groom. There's a much bigger picture. Um,
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about how the change that has happened in conducting of weddings, because you've mentioned obviously the biggest thing is the number of guests, the number of people you can have at the ceremony, the maximum, including the bride and the groom and the priest and whoever else is there. It's 15 people. So what have you seen is one of the biggest changes that's happened when it comes to conducting a wedding?
Of course, people are wearing masks, going to the wedding.
Oh
The
my
wedding
gosh,
fashion
I had
itself.
not even thought about that.
Yes, imagine.
Yeah, you have
Yeah,
to. You have to.
you're wearing a mask. So it means there's implications in fashion. There is the distancing, even with the bridal couple themselves. There is no, you may kiss the bride. Of course, it's not happening. And then the pastor himself or herself, the officiant, they have to keep the distance. Yeah. So in terms of the process itself is not changing, but the social distance is seriously being observed. Then, of course, there's a lot of zooming in terms of live streaming of the weddings.
Okay.
In some countries, Zoom weddings have been declared legal. Of course, the Americans
Wow,
always
that is
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. So that in terms of the process itself, there is how the law says for a wedding to be legal, there is how it is supposed to be done. That has not been revised. What has changed is the social distancing, the hygiene standards, people hugging each other, nothing like that. So it's like any other event. The process has not changed. Yeah, because it's like we say, yeah.
Yeah. It's just our behavior and the events that we have had to change. Understand
Yes.
that? Okay.
And some couples, when they look at, everything else, Maasai people are beginning to appreciate the smaller kind of weddings.
Yeah.
But also when they realize, they just say, you know what, I will postpone. When we look at, we did a mindset survey of the couples. And what we found is that most couples are actively planning their wedding. There are not very few cancellations. If anything, there is postponements that are happening. The numbers, of course, are being reduced. And people are just like, you know what, I'd rather postpone, as opposed to, when the parents cannot even travel.
Yeah.
There's lockdown in Nairobi. Let me say Nairobi is a bigger market. And then Mombasa, of course. Destination weddings, forget about it. They're not happening.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, wow, there has actually been so much that has changed and so much that I wouldn't even have thought about. Talk to me a little bit about your business and one of the things you've had to adjust, especially as a leader in your business. When COVID-19 first happened, and of course, weddings are majorly affected, was there some major changes you had to make at Samantha Bridal, and why?
For us as a brand, first of all, I must say I run a very, very small ship. Yeah. A lot of the people we work with are subcontracted. Like we just, when this came up, like when we had a social distancing measures, we just had finished the wedding fair, which was one of the most successful in so many years. We hadn't seen anything like that. It was very well attended. It was beautiful. Everybody was happy with it. Mm-hmm. And 2 weeks later, this came about. So what we have said as a business leader, I have not had to fire anyone. I have not had to even cut the salaries. Because what I know is that this is a crisis, and crises are always there. It's just that COVID is what it is. But there were other crises, by the way. Yeah. There was if you think about in the world, there was Hong Kong, those riots, there was the locusts that were there. All crises are always there.
Yeah.
And this is it's one of them, even though it's unprecedented. And the thing about a crisis is that people will remember you for that.
That's true.
And so, yeah, so for me, one of the things is that, yes, maybe in the future we may have delayed salaries, but for now we have not fired anyone. People are working from home. I must say we are not an essential service. As Samantha's bridal, we are not, we are not an essential service. Weddings are not an essential service.
Right.
What is essential, you know, when you look at Maslow's, right now people are looking at health, safety,
Yes.
and food.
Yeah.
That's what is important. So weddings can always wait, you know, and therefore we immediately closed the office. People are working from home. We just have, unless there is one part of our business that is entertainment and education, of course. So we have maybe one person who goes to the office to just update our social media services and to also update our YouTube channel. So we did that. But otherwise, we are not unnecessarily asking our people to come to the office and endanger themselves. No, we are not doing that. But I'm talking of our business, I can also talk about our clients, what they do. As you know, what we do is actually we work with wedding business leaders and we help them succeed in terms of helping them market themselves.
Yeah.
But also, yeah, so we help them with that. What I know is that when I look at the wider industry, there's very many casuals who, for example, there's a wedding on Saturday or any particular day, these people are called into work. These people are completely out of jobs, completely.
Yeah.
I know that, you know, weddings are a numbers game. So the more the numbers, if I rent out, say, chairs, or I rent out a tent, the bigger the better.
Yeah.
So it means those people are actually suffering. So we are one of those businesses that until the government says it's safer, those businesses are generally hospitality. We are on a so people have had to re-engineer themselves. I've seen fashion designers get into masks. I've seen people getting into selling sanitizers. So people are just finding ways to survive.
Yeah. I think that's happening in a lot of industries. And you've talked about people re-engineering themselves, and that actually takes me to my next question. Samantha Bridal has a very robust online platform where somebody can really plan almost their entire wedding on your platform. And that's something that was existing a long time before even COVID-19. Would you say that that was something that has made your business more sustainable or more pandemic proof?
I can't say we are pandemic proof. All over the world, the wedding businesses, let me just say the events businesses have been severely affected. We are not pandemic proof, you know, because we, for example, we are not marriage officiators. So in terms of the services we provide are add-ons. Yeah, we and our other clients we work with. So right now what we are doing is just to stay relevant and to advise couples. For example, couples want to know if I want to cancel my wedding, so how do I go about canceling that wedding? People are now looking at contracts. There's a new word people have learned, force majeure. Well, in the past, we worked with it. We worked with that word because sometimes you set up a tent and there's a big wind that comes and blows the tent out.
Right.
Yeah. So that is a word that we always worked with. And maybe you plan a wedding and maybe it's flooded.
Yeah.
And as a venue, you don't expect floods. So it's a word that we already had in our contracts, but now it has taken a brand new meaning. But all in all, you know, most of the people in the wedding industry actually are in that business because they love it. It's out of passion. It's not an industry you get in if you don't love it. So the willingness is there. There's goodwill generally from couples and goodwill from service providers at a contractual level. We are just helping our couples and some of the clients we work with relook at the contracts and see how we can move the weddings forward, as opposed to, you know, getting into legal fights. very few legal fights have had, but there's a lot of goodwill. Everybody, of course, we want the couples to get married. There's a lot of
it, yeah. So,
but we can't say we are COVID-proof. Recession-proof, maybe we were, but COVID-proof, no. Remember, the people getting married are young, and especially, I'll tell you, the wedding industry becomes a business at the point where people can pay more money, they can spend, and at that point, it becomes almost a luxury, especially in a country like ours, when people are living in less than $1 a day.
Yeah.
By the time somebody's spending $1 million, $2 million, 5, 10 on the wedding,
you
know they have the disposable income to do that.
True.
So if you ask me in terms of COVID-proof, no, we are not. It's gonna take us almost 2 years. If I can gaze into the crystal ball, there are very many people gazing into crystal balls and predicting things.
Yeah, we're all trying to guess. There's nobody who can tell the future at this moment.
Our clients are what we call the Henrys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know, high earners, but not yet rich.
Yes.
You understand? You know the Henrys.
I know the Henrys.
Don't forget these people, even after COVID ends. Yeah. Yes, everybody will be ready to go.
Yeah.
But don't forget, there's been a lot of layoffs. People are now thinking, okay, yes, that money I had set aside for a wedding, but my company, the company that employs them, they don't know the future. You see, not just layoffs. A lot of companies are going to struggle. The world is going to get into a really big recession. So people are not just spending like that. People are holding on to any money they have. Yes. For a rainy day. I mean, if anything has taught us about saving for a rainy day, it is COVID. You understand?
That's right.
So these Henrys are going to come back thinking differently. So they're not just going to spend like that. We're going to see a lot of scaling down. So it's the hospitality industry is going to take a while, especially the wedding industry. That's why I said we are not an essential service. People are now they're coming back. People are going back into themselves. Health, safety, food. When there's a wedding that is going to happen, and again, what's going to happen is that right now, if you look at all the social media handles, it's so distasteful to flaunt wealth at the moment. And it happened in 2008 when there was a big recession, when the world went into a recession. We saw even celebrities all over the world. They would go into a very remote place, have very secretive weddings, very high-end secretive, because you're not going to be celebrating. Your neighbor is dying, they're being foreclosed. It's so distasteful. Yeah. So for a long time, it's going to be distasteful to flaunt wealth in that way. And remember, I think I was on your show earlier this year. Yes, and I was talking about people who spend on high-end weddings. They want to make statements. And they're using brands to express these statements. Yeah. So people are not going to flaunt wealth in that way. And if they are going to, it's going to be very secretive. So that's how we're going to see things changing. If I look into the crystal ball, we are tightening our belts because it's going to be a rough ride. Yeah. The next couple, maybe 1 or 2 years.
That's true. It's very insightful, actually, what you said about the Henrys and about even how people will be secretive or hold back on showcasing wealth, even though there's somebody who does have it post-corona. It won't be something that you'll be out there telling everybody. Earlier, you mentioned that people are obviously leaning more towards small weddings because, it's 15 people. But what I want to know is, at this time, for the people that are still having their weddings, there's a lot of Kenyans who are wondering why insist? Why not wait? You said you have a lot of people postponing, but for the people that are still going through with their weddings now, why insist? Why force issues to have it this year?
So let me tell you something. It's a big money saver. Some people are having big weddings.
To do it now.
Yes, people are having big weddings because it's just social pressure. It is social pressure, and if you can get over this,
Catherine, please do me a kindness and repeat that again for our viewers. These weddings are what?
Some people are responding to social pressure. But I must say, there are people who would rather wait. Like there is a couple I know who was planning a wedding and they had quite a substantial budget. They have lived together. They have children going to school. They have built a foundation. They have homes. It's a young couple, maybe in their late 30s there.
Yeah,
early 30s, mid 30s there, yeah. Now they were going to blow it out on a wedding.
right.
Because the girl always wanted a wedding. Those are the kind of people who will wait. And then there are people who actually don't have money and they're just doing it because it's pressure. What will so and so say? What will so and say? My mom wants these. You know, those kind of things.
Yeah.
So those couples that it's a way out. Like, let's just do it now. And then, of course, there's superstitions.
Okay.
There's some people who are superstitious.
But you're superstitious beyond coronavirus.
No, the superstitions, like you set a date, you are meant to do, you just do it.
Okay.
It's cancel a wedding. Actually, there's some cultures like that. So canceling a wedding is bad luck, a sign of bad luck.
Yeah.
So they prefer to go ahead with it. And then there's people who really were waiting for this thing to happen, for the wedding to happen. They just wanted to get married. It wasn't a show off.
Yeah.
And maybe the girl or the man is like, if we don't get married now, you know, maybe
Inaweza toroka post-corona.
There's things like that. And then there's people who are getting rushed, getting married because of maybe they're pregnant and they don't want it to show.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, that's a really.
So there are many, many reasons why people may want to get married now.
Okay.
And just get over with. Yes.
Okay. Well, Catherine, unfortunately, time is almost up. I think you and I can talk about weddings all day. But before we finish up, I would like you to give a final encouraging word to business owners, especially in the service industry. Because like you said, you haven't fired anybody. You have not yet cut salaries, even though it might happen in the future. But there are very many businesses that aren't in that position. What would you say to those business owners to motivate them at this time?
So what I want to say is this. Number one, there's so many prophets at the moment who are gazing into the crystal ball that I keep saying and predicting very many things. Yes, it is true that post-COVID, things may not be the same. But what I want to say is this. Nobody knows anything for sure. Nobody knows anything for sure. So right now, it's time for you to, it's good to reinvent. Like Charles Darwin, I've had it in so many ways, saying it's going to be survival for the fittest. Mm-hmm. But even then, there were the bigger animals, the ones that were fit. Right now, it's not about the size of the business. It's not about how much money you have, or it's about who will adapt. So yes, take time. Number one, use your friends and colleagues, talk to them, because you may be seated at home and feeling people are doing things and I'm not doing. No, just leverage them, sit with them, hear what they are saying, and that will help you get through that. Number two, enjoy also, as people, especially in the event business, we're always so busy. This event, that event, we're so busy, we have no time to sit down. This is time to sit down and just introspection and look at your business. Do those things you always wanted to do and you never had time. Work on your website. Work on maybe your profile. Rethink where you want your business to go, because we never have time to do that. Sit down and actually do those kind of things. Take time to become a human being. We are human beings. We're not human doings.
Right.
Just the other day I was talking to somebody and who told me, I wake up in the morning, I do my makeup. Let me just confess, I have not been doing makeup. I only did this makeup for this interview. Yeah. I wake up, of course, I have the routines because I have a small child who I need to put her in a routine, and children thrive in a structured routine. That's why. So get into a routine. But don't feel so that because everybody, I was telling you about this lady who told me she wakes up at 6, she's in her makeup and she's in her element, whether she's going to the office or not, and she's at her desk. If you can't do that, you can't.
Yeah, I'm
Be
not like
yourself.
that.
You know, we can look at this. Yes, it's a pandemic. It's a tragedy. Very many people are dying all over the world. But you can also flip, stay safe, reduce the curve, but at the same time, take time to be yourself. Take it as a gift of time to actually be yourself. God didn't create us to just work and run around.
Yeah.
He created us to live, to be alive, to be human beings. So let us be, not do all the time. So don't sit down. I think depression is a real thing. I've talked to
Yeah.
so many people who are really down, many business people. Like I said, leverage your colleagues and friends. You don't have to take up a new, you can, even if it's gardening. The other day I called up some of my colleagues in the company. I told them, I know you don't have a garden. Why don't you do a garden, hang it in a container garden.
Yeah.
You know, like a new hobby. Learn something new, a new skill that you may, but don't get depressed alone in the home. And if you're young, things are going to change. This is the time to take advantage.
I like that. Thank you so much for that. Could you please share your social media handles and the Samantha Bridal website and the Samantha Bridal social media handles?
At Samantha's Bridal, that is Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. That's where you can find us, and you should subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have the Samantha Show ongoing.
Very nice.
Many stories to say. Yeah, thank you.
That is awesome. Thank you so much, Catherine Masitsa. You've been amazing and incredible. Thanks for making the time to have this conversation with me and with all of us at KTN Life and Style. We really appreciate it. And that is it on celebrations and the wedding industry in COVID-19. But the conversation doesn't have to end because me and Catherine are going. You can keep tweeting us. Use the hashtag KTN Life and Style on Twitter. You can tweet me directly if you like at @sdroge_ or talk to me on Instagram and Facebook where I go as Surah Common. Follow our social media pages as well at KTN Home. Keep up with all amazing things KTN Home. Now we are going to go and enjoy some music at the artist segment. So keep it here on KTN Life and Style, the virtual edition.